Concerning the races of the known world and, with particular interest, on the races of the Six Sisters. By Marcus Fabius Quintus. The world as it is known to us is vast, and I cannot know what lies beyond that which has been explored and reported on. I myself have traveled extensively, but I must admit that some of this information I am including comes from reliable sources, rather than my own eyes and ears. It seems that each intelligible race has their own home country, and have spread out from there to other parts of the world, coming into conflict with others. For my own people, we humans have our origin in the ox heart, which is at the center of the world. We, unlike most other races, have not wandered from our birthplace. While we have been displaced within our peninsula, we have not emigrated away. It is a common feeling among my people, that we and the ox heart belong together, as fish belong in water. The gnomes come from what today is Ferriers, to the northwest of the ox heart, on the other side of the dark forest. They moved south into Esperana and were once the first occupiers of Karch. Their fullest extent came when they crossed the northern plains and established themselves in the eastern riverlands. They are known mostly as a savage people, living in hilltop forts and villages. They worship strange gods who require sacrifices of blood. However, the gnomes in the ox heart, and in Esperana, are quite different, being civilized, and accepting different faiths. These gnomes are ingenious and great inventors, unlike their wild cousins to the north. Elves were originally a desert people, living south of Soraya in lands beyond our knowing. After accepting the Asherite faith, they conquered the desert and coastal lands of the Madriti, displacing the various exotic races there, forcing them southward into other unknown lands. The elves then crossed the Pillars of Peleus, and the Scarlet Sea, and established themselves on the northern shores, establishing Al-Rasan and Quilea. Over the centuries, many elvish groups have rapidly adapted to their new homelands, losing their desert qualities. Today, it is common to find pale-skinned elves with golden hair who live in forests or grasslands. Dwarves have their origin in the mountains and hills of Soradia. Their cities are built deep within rock, where they are excellent miners and smiths. Because of this fact, dwarves do not feel comfortable outside in open areas. This has limited the regions to which they could expand. Within the known world, the only place, other than Soradia, to have high mountains, is the ox heart. That fact, when discovered by the dwarves, led to their migration west, and ultimately to the establishment of the kingdom of Yggdrath. Halflings come from Amuz, on the eastern coast of the Scarlet Sea. They are a peaceful people, who worship stars and live quiet lives. This has made them a target for many other peoples. Sometime in the past, there is no definite date of when, dwarves raided the coastal cities of Amuz and carried off entire populations of halflings. This is because dwarves do not like to fish or farm, preferring to be deep in their mountain lairs. So, the halflings or Soradia and Yggdrath continue to live quiet lives, just not where they would like to be. It is said amongst the halflings that they all long to return to Amuz, despite their families having spent unknown generations away from it. Orcs occupy the dark forest, and it is believed that they originated somewhere deep within it. It is not known if they expand north of it into Waleska, which is goblin territory. They have expanded south into the ox heart, so it is not beyond imagining that they would also conquer north. In the northern plains, they established Cardoon. The orcs of Cardoon dominate, and enslave other races and force them to labor tirelessly. They are a savage people. But they are not without redemption. The many orc tribes that have crossed the Tora River and settled amongst humans have thrown off their barbarism, and are civilized and even genteel. To east, in the land that straddles Soradia and Amoria, lies the homeland of the Asimar. They are a tall, refined race. They are also amongst the richest. It is said that their cities are all marble, and that they enjoy theatre and music. They were the first to accept the faith of Jad and have since spread it to Esperana, Anglican and Moscav. They have colonies in Cilicium, and are in near constant conflict with Byzania. The lands of Byzania are the last known in the east. They are occupied by an exotic people of dragon men. While they appear like other races to have 2 hands and 2 legs, they lay eggs and have offspring like lizards. It is said that they are an aggressive people who eat other races, like one might eat beef or lamb. And finally, in the far north, live the Goliaths of Anglican and Moscav. Little to nothing is known of them, except that their skin is the color of ice and that they are extremely tall and strong. I have heard that from a distance, one might think them humans, but that the resemblance is superficial on closer inspection. The races of the 6 sisters are varied in number and distribution, depending on which city one is in. It is true that humans make up at least half of the population of each city, but that is to be expected as, aside from Astibar, these are the only human lands left in all the world. With over 150,000 citizens, the grand city of Senzio is the most populated territory on the entire Oxheart. The city has a population which is half human. About a quarter are gnomes, no doubt descendants of the Blue Sky tribe. Gnomes, having founded Senzio 200 years ago, make up the majority of the nobility in the city. The rest of the peoples of Senzio are dwarves and halflings. While in Ygrath, the dwarves dominate the halflings, here, both races are equally free and commingle quite peacefully. Within the walls of tiny Tregear, the people somehow are able to fit 10,000 citizens. Like Senzio, half of the populace are humans. There are many other humans outside the city in camps, waiting for their opportunity to travel on to Senzio. Over a fourth of the people are orcs, who first came as mercenaries, but have since given up their barbaric ways and now live much like their human neighbors. Remnants of gnome invaders make up a sizable minority, with an additional 10% of mixed race or other peoples. Chiara is unique in that it is completely made up of humans. Because it is the site of their birth, the city officials consider it hallowed ground. Despite the faith of 3 is now accepted by most elves, orcs, gnomes and even dwarves, all who have come to the Oxheart through invasion, and even though these races come to Chiara on sincere, pious pilgrimage to see the blood of a Daean, they are still forbidden to live in the city. Authorities give such peoples an entrance visa for 3 days. It may be extended twice yearly, but still, that means non-humans may stay within Chiara for only 9 days within any given year. Until recently, no one would be amiss to think of Corte as simply a market town for wine and cheese. But with her victory in the Lake War, Corte is a city in her own right. Unlike the other cities of the Riverlands, Corte is spread out and lightly populated. About 3 out of every 4 people in Corte are human, with the remainder being mostly elves with a significant dwarf population. The elves here differ greatly from their brothers and sisters in Quilea. They have abandoned life in the southern hill country and rejected their desert past. While most still bear the markers of desert elves, with their tan skin, some now consider themselves completely different, with lighter skin tones, as they now occupy the sparse forests and grasslands of Corte. Being the former capital of the Empire of Man, one might think of Chertando as a human city. However, her fame and magnificence has attracted many other races to settle there. While 60% of the people are human, the rest are a mix of whoever has arrived. It is not uncommon here to see orcs and elves eating together, despite their legendary disgust for one another. There is even a sizable halfling population, which comes from Amus, and still holds to their kin-death faith. Asoli by the Sea is by far the most diverse place in all the Oxheart. As is true with all the Six Sisters, humans are a large percentage. Yet the ships coming in and out of Asoli have brought people from all over to her shores. Orcs from the northern plains, elves from Alrasan, and gnomes from Esperana, all have small communities within the city. There are rumors, although I have never seen it with my own eyes, that Goliaths from Karch can even be found here in some small numbers.